Right. Welcome old family and new family to Cipher Scholars. Part education, part hip hop, all culture. You're listening to your boy Brandon White or Bushido Garvey if you know me as an MC.
And co-host, you listen to co-host Rob Blow.
Yes. Let's hop right into the syllabus. For those who have been listening, we know we do this thing as a syllabus. We have usually 3 topics we break down that have impacted us over the week. First and foremost is Uncle Face, Scarface, running for city council. Second,
Councilman Brad Jordan.
Yes,
Councilman Brad Jordan.
Brad Jordan, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to be known as Scarface, but we're going to get into that. Right, then we're going to get into the forever chemicals. That's right, you heard correctly, forever chemicals. And then we're going to get into the passing of Queen Mother Laureate Toni Morrison. God bless the dead. So let's hop right into Uncle Face. So Scarface, aka Brad Terrence Jordan. The boy is running for city council in his own H-Town.
Surprisingly enough, I would never have expected a rapper such as Scarface to run for office in his own city. As a city council member, he want to become is he? Okay, whatever. Go ahead. But yeah, that's very surprising to me, man. Just to see someone that came up from where he came from, make the music that he makes, and ends up with this new venture that he's taking part in now.
Word up, you know, Scarface is straight from the south side of Houston, South Acres, right? Seen a lot, did a lot, but now here he is. Fast forward 30, 40 years later, and he wants to run for city council. That's a powerful thing. And you know, the Ghetto Boys. Salute to the Ghetto Boys, and rest in peace, Bushwick. You know, who also
recently passed.
Yep. You know what I'm saying? God bless the dead. He or they, while they did have like, you know, very intense lyrics that kind of chronicled like, you know, different types of violent acts that they, you know, they saw in the news or society.
Health. Come on, they were
really
one of the
big
first
into
groups
mental
that.
health. Before, before this new era of rapper, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially Scarface, who was in a psychiatric facility at a late teenage, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, that's true, yep. I remember them saying that.
But they always had like a hope in their music too, you know what I'm saying? Like, they always had like a positive piece about their music too, even if they did, you know, chronicle a lot of the violence that they saw or witnessed in their society. There was always still like, all right, but we still here though. We still here. We still gonna be strong about it, you know. So, you know, when Scarface is running, I'm like, all right, cool. You know, it makes some sense because there's that song "Ghetto Fantasy" that the Ghetto Boys did. In Scarface's verse, he's basically criticizing politicians, right? In the video, like they're kind of criticizing even the black politician that comes into the hood only to get some votes. You know what I'm saying? And now here he is. Fast forward some years later, he's running for city council. That's powerful.
So the question is, what made him get the urge to partake in such a venture right here?
Well, honestly, I think it seems like something that was always interesting to him to serve his community. You know what I'm saying? Actually, he talks about that a bit in his because he had posted around June 26th. Like he said, you know me as Scarface. But now you get the opportunity to meet Brad Jordan. I've done a lot of music and did a lot of speaking. I want to let y'all know I'm getting ready to make a super impact on the community because that's the important thing to me right now. That's my passion, to make sure everybody is created equally, to make sure we get equal justice, to make sure everybody's on the same level playing field. And I hope that you will stand behind me and my positive purpose for making this happen. Thank you to the city of Houston.
So I would say that, and also coupled with what he had said in this interview. He had did an interview somewhere in a radio station, maybe somewhere near his hometown,
right,
or his city. And in that interview, he stated that he worked with mayors and council members of the city, and he found, and not only did he learn of what he saw in not only did he learn from the outside, he also learned from the inside. And when he saw the inner workings of the council members and the mayor, etc., and these are city officials, he found out that maybe I can't finagle this. Maybe I can't
became like a feasible
fix
idea.
Any problems that you know what I mean. Right. He saw exactly how the the business affairs work with these city officials and stuff like that. He
Right.
did, and he did work with the mayors and council members through a nonprofit organization by the name of Positive Purpose Movement.
That's right.
In the Positive Purpose Movement, he employed nonviolent offenders, man, people that went to jail for nonviolent acts.
So you're saying like he kind of like scaffolded himself into politics?
Yeah, basically.
Right.
So with this nonprofit organization, Positive Purpose Movement, he was allowed to work with the mayors and city council members.
Okay.
And, with that, he was able to see the inner workings, and he took it from he thought in his head like, yo, man, maybe I can't work with this and I can finagle some things and make some changes within the city, and listening and knowing that he's heavily a part of his community. You know what I mean? He felt like
deeply rooted.
Very deeply
Trying
rooted.
to stay rooted.
He felt like he could definitely make
a
a positive change and all that. You know what I mean? So
indeed, man. So I was listening to this interview with Lord Jamar on Vlad TV, and Vlad he brought up like change happening through like municipalities and local elections. Lord Jamar was like, I don't think that will make the biggest difference in the world, because at the end of the day, the system is the system, and unless you change it foundationally, what's going to happen? You're still going to get like a lot of the same outcomes. So what are your thoughts about that as you hear that Brad Jordan, if I say Brad Johnson, my fault, Brad Jordan is about to run for office?
When I hear that, it comes to mind civics, man. What you have to do is understand civics at its fullest, from the local governments all the way up to the federal governments.
Right.
That's local, state, federal.
Yeah.
And these governments have been ran for decades upon decades. And with that being said, I think what one has to do is you have to study the officials and their job descriptions and what they do as of right now, because these things has been in place for a long period of time, and these things have borrowed from other I think cultures and things of that nature. So once you study that and figure out the positions and the job descriptions, etc., then I think you could build from there. You know what I mean?
Word. Just
like Scarface, Scarface felt like these guys that were in there before him, he felt like they were not using their positions properly.
Right.
Because he felt like, okay, I see how the system works now, but these guys are not. I know a solution to this. Using the system that they have in front of them. So I don't think they're moving properly. So maybe there's a different mindset that he has coming from his community, and he bringing that his business affairs from his community with him into the official realm. Right.
No, I hear that. And I think a lot of well-meaning people hop into politics that way. Right, where it's like, you know what, I see how it works now, but they're not using it the way I think they could use it. Let me hop in. But sometimes what happens though is they end up being kind of swallowed up.
Yeah, that's
system.
true.
So I hope and pray for Brad. You know what I'm saying? And I also hope that, because he says Scarface is dead. He wants to be, seemingly he wants people to he wants to put to the side the Scarface persona and be embraced as Brad Jordan. You know what I'm saying? And I want him to be, if there's a legit transition in his life, you know what I'm saying? Like Detroit Red was no longer Detroit Red, he was Malcolm X, right? And if Scarface just wants to embrace Brad Jordan, then that's cool. But I hope he's not trying to assimilate into politics. You know what I'm saying? Like, let him come to politics. Let him shape politics. Don't let politics shape him. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm hoping
I think
for.
that's what's going on too, because you know what I mean. Like I said before, he's taking his business. The affairs that he has learned from the outside of the politics, and he's bringing that with him on the inside. You know what I mean? And using the system that is available for him on the inside with an outside mindset.
Word up. Piece to face. We not from the District D in Southside Houston. You know what I'm saying? We from upstate New York, Rochester 585.
Well, Western New York.
Yeah, Western New York, exactly.
Western New York.
I'm adopting the colonizer's language right now. We not upstate, we Western New York. You feel me? So, but yeah, you know what? If we were down there, you'd have our vote, face. Keep on pushing, keep on fighting the good fight, and rest in peace to Bushwick Bill. So. Let's go on to this next part of the syllabus.
Yes,
the forever chemicals. Forever, ever.
PFAS.
Forever, ever?
Forever, ever. Polyfluoro kill.
Yeah, I had to step my fluency game up with that. Say it again.
I think it's okay. So this is the abbreviated term PFAS or PFAS as they would call it.
Right.
Shortly, and the abbreviated term stands for polyfluoro kill.
Yes. Yep.
I believe.
Yep.
Right?
This is a polyfluoro kill. Yep.
Polyfluoro kill.
Yep. It's wild.
And this chemical is also known as the forever chemical. The reason why they label
keep on saying, I'm sorry. I'm gonna grow up. Go ahead.
No. And the reason why it's labeled the forever chemical because it's non-biodegradable. This chemical has been found recently in bottled water across different states in the United States. New Mexico being one of them. Michigan
like
being one.
Yeah.
Massachusetts, I believe, being one. So it's a major issue. This is a national major issue that has recently came up. Now, this chemical has been around and has been in use for at least for decades. You know what I mean?
I guess
for a long period of time. So we've been around this. Humans have been around this chemical unknowingly.
They said 99% of us have it in our system,
in our bloodstreams and stuff like that. Yeah. So I heard the same thing too. So
that's crazy. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot. That's 100.
To be PFAS injected. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really wild. And like they were saying, like the side effects of having too much of it were like different forms of cancer, like testicular cancer, kidney cancer,
liver disease.
Yep, exactly. Thyroid issues, all that, and even like just nervous system stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, and part of conspiracy, brother. But I remember we talked about this. The U of R, the University of Rochester had like a commercial saying like the amount of nervous system diseases like Parkinson's is gonna like shoot up by some sort of crazy amount of percent.
I don't remember that.
I know we had talked about that, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Is this connected? Could this potentially be connected? Not sure, but that's just some my thinking and pondering about it though.
So this polyfluoro kill or PFAS or PFAS is found in raincoats. Right. Okay, matter of fact, this is a chemical that let me start off like this. This is a chemical that helps to fight against fires, stains, grease.
Water infiltration and all that.
It's a water repellent, things of that nature. So they found a chemical. So these companies, these organizations that use these chemicals found this chemical to be very useful in all areas that we just named, right? And what they decided to do was they decided to manufacture these chemicals within raincoats, fire foam, the foams that you see to help stop fires and stuff like that firefighters use. And that's also in your homes. You know what I mean? Teflon pans, etc. It's in many of these items that we use. It's also in the
foods,
Chipotle bowls. It's in the Chipotle bowls and the
green and
sweet
whole
green
food bowls.
Yep.
Like, so that was when I was learning about it. That was the thing that frustrated me the most because heads be trying to do the right thing by their bodies, right? You know what I'm saying? Because it talked about. I was just at a birthday dinner, right? And I'm the only vegan person there, and I was getting clowned, right? But they talked about with all these forever chemicals, it's primarily found in all these meats that we consume on a regular basis. And I was like, y'all can clown me, but it's all in these seafoods and meats and all that. But then guess what? Turn around, and I'm always at Chipotle getting my plant-based burrito. You know what I'm saying? And sure enough,
the bowl that's supposed to be compostable. What's the word?
Compostable. We'll make our own. This is hip hop. Compostabilication. We'll just make up our own words.
So, and the bowls that's supposed to be compostable, right? Yeah. These bowls are not even compostable because they got these chemicals in it that's non-biodegradable, man. Which will be harmful to the soil, which will be harmful to plants, etc. You know what I mean? And
that's what the report said too. Like they said, like the problem with the PFAS, which by the way straight up sounds like an STD. I'm just gonna call it. It sounds like an STD. Like, oh man, I got that PFAS. I gotta go to the clinic.
I got that PFAS.
But what's it called? They said the problem was not so much the consumption, but like when you return that bowl to the environment to be composted or whatever, you just embed that PFAS into the soil and back into the earth when it's a forever chemical. They don't. It will last for millennia.
Straight to pollution.
Yeah, exactly.
It contributes straight to pollution. They say it takes over 500 years plus to break down fully. You know what I mean? And and that's not good. That's definitely not good. So the Democrats are urging the Food and Drug Administration to do something about it. And the Food and Drug Administration wants the EPA to put regulations on it, because right now it's not even being regulated like lead. It's not being regulated like arsenic and things of that nature. So so not only do we have lead and arsenic and all these other chemicals, we're also dealing with this PFAS in the water, man. But we have been dealing with this for decades already. So with that being said, do we have the solution? Because
I heard one. I only heard one solution. It might even be the one that you're thinking about it. I guess Michigan was dealing with this problem for like some time. There's more recent reports about forever chemicals with food and stuff, but like
think about when you say Michigan, you think about Flint. Yeah, Flint water.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Indeed. Right? No, you're right though. No, you're good. But that's a good point. And they talked about using activated carbon in part of the filtering process.
Definitely. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But that's
and it was successful. It was successful, right? They tested it and stuff like that. And then Michigan, they given that to those that were near the source of the findings of PFAS.
Okay, got you.
The residents there. So that not only did the organizations did the carbon filter system, they also gave carbon filter systems to the residents there. That's dope. On the front line. Right.
So they actually they just put it in the reservoirs process. They actually gave it to people that live in that area. That's environmental justice right there.
Yeah, that is environmental justice. That happened, but it's a long process, man. And the carbon thing is not. I don't think is a full.
It's not a full fix.
It's not even at a full acceptance, right?
Right.
This is something that they're trying to figure out to help slow it down and stop it and maybe regulate it and stuff like that. So yes, carbon helps, right? And carbon is a natural substance, right? So I think we there's a way to stop these forever chemicals, man. And forever chemicals been around, man. And we had vegetarians, vegans, and all this other stuff like that going around dealing with this stuff like unknowingly, you know what I mean? So and some of these people passed on very healthy, you know what I mean? So is there a way to get around this? I believe so.
Right, indeed, man. And
definitely believe so.
When I was hearing you talk about like the process, it made me think about. Remember Black on Both Sides, Mos Def's album?
Yep.
I remember when I first heard it, and I was like, why has he got this song about water on here?
Free water?
New World Water.
New World Water.
Yeah, I think the beat notes. Yeah, right, exactly.
Beat Nuts, Beat Nuts made the beat.
Did that joint. Yep. And he goes in about the whole global politics of water. You know what I'm saying? There are places where TB is common as TV, and just talking about like how, these companies will create sewage and create biohazardous waste, but then sell you bottled water for $1.99. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like Nestle did that basically. Like Nestle
Dasani
had
water.
Free, exactly. Well, Dasani, they had like a tampered water issue. Okay. And then also, what's it called? Nestle, they had basically free or deeply discounted water rights to the pure water that Flint people could have been getting. You know what I'm saying? Like Flint was like near clean water access.
It was two pipes. Pipes, and then Flint switched to some other pipes, so they needed to go back to the other source or something like that.
Right. Well, yeah. Like so,
sound crazy.
It was like a lot of corruption. There was a clean water opportunity that they did not get, but Nestle got it. They got water rights. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And so I think back to that song "New World Water" and how like relevant it is today. That was like 20 years ago, and then we still seeing this, and it's with food now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's in a lot of grocery products as well.
And just to digress real quick, relatable to water. There's a few states right now dealing with shortages of water. There's about like 13 countries in the world or something around that number, that's dealing with shortages of water. Like Iran is one of them, I believe. And some other places too. But man, this is gonna be another. This is another situation with water.
Is it India?
I'm not sure. I don't remember, man. But this is gonna be an issue that's gonna be prevalent soon enough. So pay attention to that, man. Water on all facets is gonna be talked about for soon coming.
Word indeed. And also peace to J Live, who came out with an album called How Much Is Water, which was water themed as well. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop has definitely been
shout out to
time.
the Waterways. Nah,
Waterways. Yeah. They ain't ready. They ain't ready yet, Rob Lowe. Don't sink the boat. Don't sink the boat. Coming soon by Rob Lowe, Waterways. Tireless promotion right here. You know what I'm saying? What's it called? Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
But yeah, so it's about that time.
It's
about that time to transition into
Toni Morrison,
about the OG legend who we unfortunately lost this very recently. Author extraordinaire, cultural critic extraordinaire, historian through being a novelist extraordinaire, Toni Morrison.
Nobel laureate.
Yes, Nobel and Pulitzer and
all Prize.
Everything. Everything on it. You name it, she got it. You know what I'm saying? And had those with tons of grace. Little things I did not know about her. I read a couple of her books. What was it? Beloved and Sula. Yo, I recommend anybody.
Sula is a. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Sula is founding curriculums in schools.
Beloved is. I know Beloved is. I don't know about Sula.
Okay. Right.
But Beloved, I think, is like higher. It's been high. Definitely been in like 11th and 12th grade curriculums for sure. Right. Yep. But Sula was one I read, and I was like, I think that anybody in this modern woke era needs to read Sula, because I read it as like there were basically two friends growing up. One was like more traditional, like in terms of her being like more like domestically centered. Another one was like more of a free spirit and more of a like, kind of like a unorthodox thinker at a time where everybody was very unorthodox. She was like a depiction of like a stereotypical kind of woke chick, but she also like was just doing foul things and inconsiderate things, but was kind of unapologetic about it because she didn't want to be in the box of that society, right?
Okay.
So I think that was a good message for the woke era, where it's just like, just because you free spirited don't mean that you doesn't mean that you don't have to be careful about your own like character. You know what I'm saying? And really be thoughtful about it. But at any rate,
okay.
Yeah. So shout outs to that book Sula and Beloved. Check those out. Yeah. I still got to read Blue Inside and Song of Solomon and all. She got more books than
I think
LL Cool J got albums.
You know what I'm saying? She got more books out of all of the out of all of those novelists. And poets and things of that nature, man. Like Nikki Giovanni got a few books.
Right.
Angela Davis.
She edited Angela Davis's books.
Yeah, they was all friends. Like Nikki Giovanni, Angela Davis, they was all cool. Toni Morrison and all of them, they all hung around each other. Maya Angelou. Like I think out of all of these people that we named, and probably others that I might be forgetting, Toni Morrison has the most books out of all of them, I believe.
She got at least novels. At least novels.
Novels alone. Yeah. Not you know what I mean? But the thing that I noticed about Toni is that when she won the Nobel Prize in the 90s, I believe, 1993, she had a speech talking about the importance of language, and I think that was her crutch when it came to writing. Like, she loved language so much, she seen the importance in it, she seen the necessity of it, and the tools that you could use with it, or etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt like, that's part of the reason why she wrote a lot. That's part of the reason why she did a lot of research. She also, even working with Angela Davis, you know what I mean? She helped Angela Davis to write her autobiography. She influenced her. She even talked her into it. She influenced her and talked her into writing an autobiography. And I don't think we would have an autobiography from Angela Davis if it wasn't for Toni Morrison.
That's powerful.
So thank you, Toni.
And so I knew that like she was kind of responsible for like editing, but like now that I think about, because
she was the editor.
She was the editor. And just full disclosure, like I read like a third of Angela Davis's autobiography. I ain't finished it yet. It was one of them books where I picked up, was like, wow, this is powerful. And then my ADHD just put me in other places. I got distracted. Okay. But when I was thinking about like the poetry of the power of the language of that biography, like I was like, okay, now it makes sense that Toni Morrison might have helped with some guidance and stuff like that. It definitely makes some sense. I had read though that she tried to keep that low from some of the people that she was editing for, you know, because she was just like trying to like hone her craft and just be focused on her, you know, just her craft. And she said it was like a private thing for a while, which I respected as an artist. I think something about that as an artist we can all embrace, right? We're just like, you know what, like make sure there's a part of your work that people don't always have their hands in or are always aware of, because then it becomes a part of them as opposed to being an evolving part of you.
And just to add to what you're saying, she wrote her first book, Blue Eyes.
The Bluest Eye,
The Bluest Eyes, in her 20s, I believe. And then it released it until she was 39 years old. She didn't publish it until she was 39 years old. So like what you said, she had books on deck.
Yep.
She had novels on deck. Like she was writing crazy books and all that, and then was publishing them later on in her life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep. She definitely was like. That's one thing too that she showed all of us. Where it's just like it's not too late. You know what I'm saying?
Show resilience. Yeah. Skills.
Yep.
Caring for the language. You know what I mean? She seemed like she was doing her thing. She also, another thing I would like to say is that she also wrote books with her son. Children's books with her son as well. I think those kind of flew under the radar or whatever. But her son passed away from cancer, I believe, before her time. And so I want to also noted that. I also wanted to note that because a lot of people don't know about her work with her son as well. So
and people don't know that she was, you know, a teacher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she was a teacher
in DC.
too. Mm-hmm.
She lived in upstate New York. Excuse me, look at me colonizing language. Sister Morrison, thank you. You're reminding me right now, right? The language of power, the power of language, and how we could use it. I got to get rid of that term. Upstate New York. We are Western New York. She lived in Syracuse.
She lived in Syracuse.
She was in Syracuse when she was
definitely in West.
She was an hour and a half away from here.
Way
you know
more
what I'm saying?
Yep.
Well, actually, that's central. Technically, they central, but they close.
Okay, yeah,
they close.
That is central. That is central New York.
It's Niagara Falls, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse.
That is central.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
about that. Yep.
But yeah. So you know, thank you for all the work that you've done. She will definitely be missed. She lived a very full life and a life that hip hop is not. Hip hop has made sure to recognize her before she passed too. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just like a bandwagon kind of thing. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, not as prevalent as today, but definitely she definitely was recognized in hip hop as well as other people like Nikki Giovanni, all of them too, man. So thank you, Toni.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause Black Thought used her speech. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
At the event.
He mentioned Toni Morrison there.
Yep. Chance the Rapper has made references to her. You know what I'm saying? And,
sure.
No Name. Actually, no Name. You know, out of all like the MCs who are women, when we had conversations, like we haven't brought up No Name yet. Like No Name is she's tough.
Okay,
she's from Chi-Town. And, I guess her parents.
I gotta listen to more of her and all that.
Yeah, no, same. I'm slipping and sleeping too. But she, I guess her parents like ran a bookstore. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, and she didn't like reading, but then like she like read the Toni Morrison book that got her like connected with reading, and ever since but like recently she's been doing like a book club. You know what I'm saying? As an MC, and you know, so Toni Morrison's legacy is all over the place. In fact, there was an English teacher. What's the old boy's name? But there was an English teacher who created a curriculum that did like this parallel walk between Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye and Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. Okay. Right? And you know, so the curriculum got into what both of them were talking about, which is like the colorism that exists within Black culture, but still like having the creative expression and power of Black culture and Black history, right? And Kendrick Lamar rolled up to that school and talked about it. You know what I'm saying? Talked about the words of Toni Morrison.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. Wow, that's crazy.
Brian Mooney is the name of the teacher. Yo, salute to the English teacher, fellow English teacher. Man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I remember that happened. I do remember Kendrick talking to a class full of students and stuff like that. But I didn't know it was a relationship with that teacher comparing him to Toni Morrison. That's kind of a coincidence right there. That's kind of crazy, man. So
word, yep. But and what's her Toni Morrison gave Kendrick props in the process too. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So she wasn't like an elder who, you know, was like disconnected from like, you know, previous generations. You know, some elders become olders, right? Or become ageist, you know what I'm saying? Like where they just don't really respect what younger generations are doing. It don't seem like she was like that.
Ageism.
Ageism. You know
ageism and all all that.
Yep. That happens, with young people judging old people and old people judging young people, right? And but she didn't seem to have that in her, and gave Kendrick his props too. So we lost the real one.
Yeah, Toni, man. I don't see too many people giving out their praises to Toni because out of the woke era and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is for especially women in the woke era. You see a lot of her books in your houses, so please,
salute.
Please,
yes, let's please salute her. Yes. Well, we're at time, y'all. Y'all been listening to Cipher Scholars, part education, part hip hop, all culture. Catch us every Tuesday from 1:30 to 2 on 104.3 WAYO FM. You can catch us on Facebook and online as well. Peace and progress.